TΑTOU KŌRERO, our stories,
sharing our learning across the Kāhui Ako. Introducing Kirstin Hensmen. Kirstin works as a consultant and is currently providing digital technologies support across our Kāhui Ako.
What has changed in the curriculum to do with digital technologies, and what does it look like now?
I guess in the world, technology is changing so quickly. And what it really looks like in our curriculum is that we prepare all learners for the jobs that they have in the future. And really, when you think about any job, whether it's technology-based or not, it requires our learners or students to be digitally capable, and not just digital technology users, but creators, innovators, problem solvers. So it's really about all teachers understanding that and finding ways to engage our learners with digital technology.
To learn about digital technology means I need a device, right?
Definitely not. So that's an interesting thought that lots of teachers tend to think from the beginning. But up until the beginning of year 2, our computational thinking is non-computerized. So what we're doing is we're teaching students how to be computational thinkers, but without a device. And that's learning how to code and think like technology without using it. And then our learners from year 2 to 6, the expectation is they do both. They do computerized and non-computerized thinking. So even a year 2 student who is learning to code can learn to code, but not on a computer at all. So that have a deep understanding of that thinking before they actually start using a computer or digital tool.
How would you explain to parents that digital technology is more than games on devices and dances on TikTok?
I think that is more e-learning or digital use. So what we want from digital technology is that they're problem solving. So using TikTok is just using our device, whereas we want them to be innovators. And we use it for so much more than that. We want them to be computational thinkers, or to understand how to use a range of tools and pick the best one for the situation that they're in. And it's also our design for learning. So we're designing learning for a particular reason, and it has an outcome that we're heading towards, not just to be able to play a game or things like that. That's just using our device.
What is the best way to approach digital technologies if we are working with younger students and we are working unplugged?
So I think one of the key things is using the correct language from the start, so that we're really helping our students to understand that. So, for example, if I was doing coding with young children, I'd be using words like, what bugs does that have, or how can we debug it, or using some of that, those key phrases and vocabulary. It's also integrating it into our other curriculum areas. So, for example, I would be integrating it into maths and teaching them to say forwards, backwards, left, right. So it's got a geometry or even a measurement focus on it. I'd have them sharing their thinking, so they're collaborating and communicating.
What is the difference between the progress outcomes in the digital strands and the achievement objectives in the technology strand?
I think one of the key things for all teachers to understand is that our progress outcomes are different from our achievement objectives in the levels that they're at. So, for example, achievement objectives are the same across the curriculum. Level 1 is year 1 and 2, level 2, year 3 and 4. Whereas our progress outcomes don't always go to the same level. So, for example, computational thinking progress outcome 1 goes up to the beginning of year 2 if students are working at the level we expect them to. And then progress outcome 2 goes from year 2 to 6. But then our 3DOs, our designing and developing digital outcomes, is different. So it's really important for them to even have that in front of them so that they're working on the right progress outcome for their year level. They might not all start at the same year level. So we might not expect all year 6s to straight away start on progress outcome 2. They may be on progress outcome 1 first and then move on because it's so new to our curriculum. I think the other thing that's really important for teachers to understand is that our progress outcomes are integrated across the curriculum. So it's not specifically digital technology time. It's just integrated either into our other technology areas, so our achievement objectives, or it's integrated into reading, writing, maths, inquiry, anything at all, but it's not specifically digital technologies time in our.
Can you talk to us about computational thinking and designing and developing digital outcomes, or 3DO?
So computational thinking is where a student is really starting to think like a computer. So we want them to be able to write algorithms, code. We want them to understand what could be making a mistake in that coding. It's logical reasoning for our students, and that starts right from when they're 5 all the way through. And then the designing and developing digital outcomes, which we often call the 3DO, is where I'm exposed to a range of digital tools and I'm starting to make decisions about what the best one to use is in different circumstances. And I also understand the different parts of technology and how it works. So I can retrieve data, or I can share with other people. So I'm starting to think about all of those things. So an example would be, if I was creating something that I wanted to be able to share with my wider community, if it was me, I wouldn't go and use Microsoft Office for that, because that's really difficult to easily share with your community, where I might use Google Suite, or I might use QR codes or something like that people can easily access. So I understand those things and then use that to make decisions about what tool I use. But to begin with, that does start quite teacher directed, and it uses those words in the progress outcomes. But as students get older, we want them to be able to start making those decisions on their own.
What is digital fluency?
Technology is understanding when to use specific technology, and I can say why I'm using a particular tool. Students who are digitally fluent are also active digital citizens, so they're ethical in what they're doing. They know the best tools to complete a job. They're a skilled creator of digital content. They can find and access information, and they can also evaluate information for relevance and accuracy. In terms of digital fluency, as a teacher, I'm using a range of different tools as part of my program, and again, integrated across the program, so that I'm exposing my students to different tools that then they are able to make a decision about what to use.
Would you rather be without the internet for a week or without your phone?
If my phone had the internet, I'd rather have my phone and no computer because I respond to lots of stuff from my phone, not just my computer. Like often emails is my phone rather than my computer because it's quick and easy. But no internet would be very challenging.
Hey mahi tahi!
Thank you so much to Kirstin Hensmen from Sharp Canaan for your insight.